The water is out. There is no water. Do not use your water. In Charleston, I got a sense of uneasiness, to begin with, because most people understood that it was going to be a while before this really had any sort of conclusion.
I was live on the air when the governor's first tweet went out basically announcing that this had happened. And at first, we didn't really know what that meant. I was on the set, I was anchoring, as I said, and so I immediately sent a note to our assignment editor and said, check into this, let's see what this is. And finished anchoring the rest of that segment of the newscast. During the commercial break, came out, checked in, we'd gotten a little more information. We'd confirmed that yes, this came from the governor's office and it is a do not use order, which is different than a boil water advisory, which is, I think, what a lot of people maybe wondered at first. Is this just a boil water advisory? We get those all the time. And it quickly became clear this was not a boil water advisory. This was something much more serious.
There was a guy and his wife, and they looked like they might have been, late 50s, early 60s, who had loaded up the back of their truck with cases of water from Walmart, and they were going down the road handing them out to people. And it turned out that they were from Braxton County, and they had heard about the problem and they just wanted to come and help. And their charm was everything you would expect from a West Virginian. It was kind of this expectation. We saw someone ask them why they were handing out the water, and the guy looked at him and said, "Well, hadn't you heard? It's emergency."
I was lucky. I had water. But that meant I was sort of ground zero for people who needed showers, who needed to fill up water bottles, for people who just kind of wanted a place where they could get away from the no water situation wherever they were and feel a sense of normalcy for a little bit. So I was very, very fortunate. But our staff, our reporters, their families, many of them, I think nearly all of them, they lived in apartments and in homes where they didn't have water either. So this was a story that they were covering, but they were also experiencing firsthand. I think we all were in a bit of disbelief when Gary Southern, someone handed him a bottle of water during that first news conference outside the Freedom Industries headquarters, and he took a swig of water from this bottle. I think we couldn't quite believe that he'd made that kind of a blunder in the midst of all of this, and it really set the tone. That first news conference, the way it was organized, the way Gary Southern interacted with the media, that really set the tone for the way he was perceived by media and how he was perceived in the community, because people were watching that coverage live. It was unfiltered. I mean, it was the news conference. It was happening on the air for people to see, and online we were streaming it. So they saw a very unvarnished version of what was happening.
In the Innovator in Residence program, we're always looking at a way to do experimental reporting with new technology, but we're also always looking for what is the news hook? What are the pressing issues of the day? And for us in West Virginia, having just come out of, at that time when we were first looking at developing this particular program, the chemical spill in Charleston. When we were doing Streamlab and looking at the centers and sort of educating ourselves within the class, our original impetus for that was the chemical spill in Charleston, but it was like opening up a Pandora's box of issues about water, not just in our state, but nationwide, and realizing the sort of precariousness of water quality.